Another word we hear a lot is the word trauma. Part of why I'm objecting to this isn't because I'm ready to die on this hill. If people can use language, I suppose, the way that they want. But the problem is you then kind of forget what it meant to begin with, So I presume trauma means something in a clinical sense. It means more than I was embarrassed once. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe tell us what, because the subtitle of your new book, by the way, I really want to tell people to get this book. We have a link in the description below. When you have a book that Father Boniface Hicks calls brilliant, was that the word? Or
you said it was a masterpiece.
A masterpiece? This is a book worth getting, so I'd really advise people to get this book. Trauma. What is trauma?
Yeah. So I you coined this term original trauma. It's one of the chapters in the book.
Okay.
Because I believe it goes right back to the fall. That with the original sin and the separation of man from God, that relational separation was a form of trauma. And when they were exposed, if you will, right, and they suddenly felt shame, was kind of a trauma of being exposed. And even labor pains, for example, that's, I don't know about you, I haven't ever given birth to a baby, but that looks painful and traumatic on some level, and beautiful and wonderful and amazing all at once. But nevertheless, so trauma entered into...
And then you have Cain and Abel.
Yeah, Cain and Abel, murder right out the get-go. And so trauma is something we all kind of inherently kind of have within us, if you will, like sin, and then we experience it with each other and in our fallen world where we experience trauma. So I think it's like it's ubiquitous. It's like inherent in our human experience is that we experience trauma.
So what does the word mean?
Yeah,
what do we mean by it?
So what I mean by it is I could come up with a lot of different definitions,
Sure.
And so I'll start with maybe a working one right now. Would just be anything that causes us to feel unsafe and insecure in our world when we previously did feel safe and secure. And so when you have a sense of connection and you feel loved and you feel connected and something happens that causes you to doubt that and it feels there's a threat, and it could be a perceived threat versus an actual real threat, but even a perceived threat feels like a threat to the person. And so all of a sudden they have the experience of feeling like, I don't really know what my place is in the world. I don't know if I'm truly lovable. I thought I was, experienced being loved, and all of a sudden I don't know if I am. I all of a sudden don't know if I'm worthwhile. I don't know. And so with trauma comes this sense of loss of self, loss of connection with others, ultimately loss of connection with God. And that by itself causes I would say the soul as well as the body to feel dysregulated. Right. And so that brings in anxiety, right? With that dysregulation then the body's response is anxiety,
which means
muscle tense. You feel a sense of threat, and often the body response is muscle tightening, breathing changes, this sort of fight or flight kind of response. So there's this sort of anxious feeling of dis-ease and worry, and and Christ is always about be not afraid. It's all about letting go of anxieties. And so much a message in the Bible is you are safe.
Why are you afraid?
Yeah, be not afraid, right?
Yeah. Why were you afraid? That's the most, what an exposing question. Why are you afraid?
And why even it has to be said, do not, be not afraid, or do not be afraid, I'm here kind of thing, is because that's our experience, is we are experiencing trauma and anxiety, and we all experience it.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.